Hey y'all, I hope you're all blessed. So, I am doing this video today because I had a dream last night, or I guess early this morning, that has just been, I don't know, I can't shake it, y'all. I cannot do it. Like, I woke up out of the dream, I wrote the dream down. I can tell you the dream without reading it, but I've got my notes here anyways. I don't understand this one. Like, there's parts of it that seem pretty self-explanatory, but like, I don't explain. I don't understand it. And so I have been praying a good portion of the day for discernment. I have requested prayer for discernment. But I'm rather disturbed, and full disclosure, like, there's some I don't know, maybe a little explicit mentions in this video because I'm just going to be point blank on what I dreamed. Anyways, so just to give you guys a little bit of background, so my daughter, she's a preschooler, and she's recently discovered that she likes cheerleading. And I was never a cheerleader, but my sister was. And so last night I was showing her some different pictures and videos of my sister when she was in high school, doing cheerleading and stuff like that. And, so that was a lot of good fun. And then I was able to actually find some videos from my high school on YouTube of like our, I guess they call it like a video yearbook. And, I never went to my 10-year reunion or anything like that. And so that was a lot of fun for me to get to see. It was kind of a blast from the past. And it was kind of cool for my husband and my daughter to get to see it too. So we were kind of watching that before we went to bed and did our bedtime routine and what have you. And anyways, so that was it. So a little bit of what we were doing before we went to bed, I believe, bled into the dream itself. But the remainder of that dream is, I'm going to get to it, guys, but I just had to give you some background. Like, I just don't understand it. I don't understand it from some of it from a biblical standpoint, but the last part of it, I just don't understand from a biblical standpoint. So without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and start telling you. That was a long lead up. But anyway, so I woke up at 4:30 this morning, and the beginning of the dream started with me doing some kind of like a presentation on like a high school, on like homecoming from high school, for like a group of people. I guess we might have been trying to set up some kind of high school memorial or something like that. Anyway, so I'm doing this presentation for a group of people from my high school. And I had a parent of a friend of mine who's passed away and his sister. They were there also. And several of like the football player guys from my high school that I wasn't necessarily friends with, but I knew who they were. And so I'm doing this presentation. I am prone to stage fright, and so I was rather surprised in my dream at like how engaged I was with my audience, and like, it was in kind of like a dialogue format, and like, they were asking good questions, and so it was just like the vibe from the presentation was really, really well. I mean, it was it was a good time to be able to like, discuss this subject matter and get things done, and everybody's, actively working together and on the same page. So that was like a really good feeling. And so it came toward the time where I kind of needed to leave. I knew that my daughter was at my mom's house, and so I wasn't terribly concerned if I lingered a little while. I started giving hugs to my friend who passed away's mother and his sister, and then I proceeded to give hugs to all of my friends, or just like classmates from high school before I left. But my friend who had passed away, his sister was telling me, it's freezing outside. A cold front's coming in. It's absolutely freezing. And I knew that I had to walk either home or like a distance. I had to walk a fair distance. And I was dressed in summer clothes, and I was not prepared for this freak cold front. And so she was just talking about it. And so I kind of settled myself to, well, maybe I don't need to be leaving right now. Maybe it's not the best time. So I grabbed a blanket and bundled up with the friend of mine's sister, as well as the mother. And we were, putting on a movie that I had suggested. But when I looked at the clouds again, there were balls of fire coming out of them. And like several flaming balls started like hammering down around me. I'm talking like bowling balls. Like these things were massive, and they were just like coming out of the sky. And I looked over the rooftops of some of the houses or buildings around me, and there was a volcano, and it was erupting, spewing lava rocks like rain. And so I started to run, and everyone was running, trying to find shelter. But I was just like thinking, like, what kind of shelter can withstand like 100-pound lava rock flying at 60 miles per hour? Like there's just nothing. And so I was praying to the Lord for protection as I was running. And I was like, just, kind of like shouting. I don't know if it was verbally or mentally, but like, just Lord, shield me as I go. And so I'm running like into these buildings, like in the front entrance, and then out the back. And like, so I'm going into like buildings and then houses, and like, just one after the next. And then like as I traverse like open landscape where I'm just like completely out in the open, exposed, I'm just like praying to God as I went to, just protect me and shield me from these rocks that are just like pouring out of the sky from this volcano that's just like spewing it out like massively. And so I finally entered like another house, and I went in and I was shouting for whoever was inside that they needed to escape and get out of here because the volcano was going off. And I heard music towards the back of the house. And so like I kind of like make my way down like this hall, and I get to the like, I don't know, like there's like a window or like a back door, French doors for the back door, but next to that was like a bedroom or something like that, and the music was inside there. And I just kind of like barge in, and I barge in on a young girl and her boyfriend getting intimate, and I just like shut it, and I'm kind of shocked at the same time, but then the music's still going, and I'm just like shouting at the door even still, they need to get out, that the volcano is going off. And like just like that action of like opening and shutting the doors. And guys, this is gross, but I have never smelled in my dreams before. Like, at least I don't remember if I've smelled in my dreams. I don't think I've smelled in my dreams before, but I could like smell them, and it was disgusting, like their intimacy. And I just kept thinking like, sin, ew. And so like it was just gross, but like pungent. Like I could actually like smell in my dream. That was just the weirdest thing. And so anyway, so like I like shut the door, and I just really didn't have time outside of just shouting at the door to linger. So I just like leave, and I go out the back door, and it's like this porch, and I start to go into the backyard to just continue running, because my objective is to just be going ever outwards, like to escape the firing range of these rocks. Like I know I can't stop the volcano, but like I can get out from the range of like how far these rocks are being thrown. And so like that's my plan. So I'm like in the backyard and I start to go out, but it's just like hailing, like massive. At this point, they're a little bit smaller. They were much bigger in the beginning of the dream, whereas now they're about the size of like softballs. But there's just so many of them, and they're just pouring out of the sky. And so like I kind of like go back to under the patio, and I'm praying to the Lord. I'm like, Lord, what do I do? And as I'm like praying this is hard to explain. So it was if somehow the rocks that were coming out of the sky were able to centralize into like a fountain almost. Like there weren't as many pouring like directly on top of where I was standing, but rather all towards like the back of the yard. And they were pouring so densely that they actually were creating a wall all along the back of this property. And this wall started to actually form like beautiful built, constructed, like with flagstone and mortar, like stone wall. And I'm like watching this miraculous event occur, because everywhere else like the rocks are just flying and pouring out of the sky just randomly, but here they've like kind of all like come to one place to just like create this wall, just all, condensed. And I'm asking, I'm like, Lord, what does this mean? Do you want me to shelter behind your wall? And as I'm seeing it being built, and then it's when it's built, I'm like, Lord, protect me, because I just start to go for it. But the next thing I know, I'm on the other side of the wall. I'm in the spirit, and I'm deceased. I'm not raptured. I am not in my glorified body. I am in the spirit. And I know I'm in the spirit. And I look at my hands. I look down at my hands, and I can see the translucence of them and the fuzzy, like they were like a fuzzy translucent, I don't know how to explain it, but I just knew I was in the spirit. And I felt so devastated. I was like, I want my body back. But I was prevented from seeing my death. Like I knew that I had died. And I look back, I could not see my body, but I could see the wall that I was now on the other side of. No rocks were falling on me. And it was like this, from where the wall was, it was like this dome that went over the natural world. And you could see the vivid contrast of the natural world and the chaos that was going on there. And then on this side of the dome, which I now was the calm, peaceful, not quite as vibrant in a way. Now, I don't want anybody thinking that I was in heaven, because I don't think I was. I don't think I was in hell, but I don't think I was in heaven. And I just did not get the feeling that I was in heaven. And that I was not with the Lord somehow. And this is why this dream is really tripping me out, because I'm very confused on A, where I was, and B, what I was observing. So I'm just telling you straightforward, like from a biblical standpoint, I have no idea. And I pray that this is something that will come through discernment. And but it was so real. And maybe this wasn't from the Lord. I don't know. But I'm going to go ahead and share the remainder of what I witnessed. And if nothing comes of this and it was just a dream, then so be it. But if it was of pertinence, and I feel like it was, like it's like attached to me somehow, like this is like stuck on me, then I think the Lord will in time show me the purpose behind this dream and what it meant. So again, I'm on the other side of the natural world in this spiritual realm, but I do not believe I am in heaven. It does not feel like heaven. And in fact, I get an overwhelming sense of aloneness. I do not feel the presence of the Lord. I feel alone. However, I'm standing in the grass on this other side of the wall, and then just before me, right in front of me, is a stream, but there's not water in it. It's like a fuzzy gray stream, and in my waking self, it actually kind of reminds me of, and I'm not good at like other belief systems. I don't really know them that well. But I know that like the Egyptians have like this, I think it's the Egyptians, river, like that the souls go on or something. I don't know. But that's kind of like what it was. And I'm looking at this stream and I'm kind of following it to the right. Like I'm visually following, I'm not walking along it, staying put exactly where I am. And I can see that dome that stops at the wall. I'm standing in the grass and I follow the viewpoint of the stream, and it leads to a much larger river, massive river. And it's like this light gray. And I know it's a river, but there's no water in it. And I remember saying, Lord, is that the river of life? Because in Revelations, there's a river that goes out from the temple, and it's springs of living water. And so I'm confused, and I ask, I'm like, Lord, is that the river of life? But like I just knew in my spirit that it was not. That was not it. And then, boom, just as quickly as I knew that it was not like the water of the living God, like I woke. I was fully awake, like eyes open in my room, like totally awake. And this has me shook because I don't believe in purgatory. I don't believe I was in hell. I also don't believe I was in heaven because I knew I was still on this earth, but in the spiritual realm, but on this earth. I was not in the natural. I was not in the physical. I was not in my body. I was in my spirit. I don't know what this means. I don't know what the volcano means. I don't know what the raining rocks mean. The fiery raining rocks. I don't know what the wall means. I don't know what the dome divide means. I don't know what the river means. I don't know why I was sad or feeling alone, but I was still able to pray and speak to the Lord. I am disturbed as well as confused, as well as, I don't know. But if I'm to share this dream for some reason, then that's what I'm going to do. And if this is something that in a year makes sense, that does not make sense today, then that's why I had this dream now, and I'm supposed to share it. Maybe this is going to make sense to somebody else. I'm so confused. And I was speaking with a friend of mine today, and she was suggesting that there's a number of people who have done a study on heaven, and what the Bible states about heaven and all the different attributes of heaven. And maybe that's something I need to do, is, look into that a little bit more. Maybe there's insight to what I witnessed. Because I just don't know. I've had other dreams where I have been raptured and I have been in heaven, and I knew that I was in heaven. I was in my glorified body. I have had, dreams and visions that the Lord was with me. But in this one, this was different. In this one, I was in the spirit. I was deceased. I was not in my glorified body, so I had not been raptured. And I was sad because I wanted my body back, and I was alone. Like, I don't know if anybody's ever been in a situation where they were completely alone, like either on the beach or in the forest, or like being in your house alone doesn't count if you're in a neighborhood. Like, maybe if you live out in the country, but like if you're in a neighborhood, like if you're home alone, like there's still people relatively close. I mean, the feeling of like there's no one for miles. That's the feeling that I had standing in front of that stream, and I was looking around like, what is this and where am I? And I could see the divide. I don't know how to explain it. And there's scripture that says is to be in the spirit is to be with the Lord, for those who love the Lord, of course, who are born again, and children of the Most High. But I wasn't with the Lord. I was still speaking with the Lord. I wasn't in hell. Guys, I don't know. This has got me shook. And I'm not questioning my salvation. I think I did for a quick minute, but I'm not questioning my salvation. I know that I am saved for Jesus. I'm born again in Jesus Christ. And I have no doubt about that. And I know that this is something that I was being shown. I just cannot understand it. Why? What on earth? I don't know. Anyways, pray for me. I love you all. I pray for all of you. The things in the beginning about me doing a presentation, I think that all has to do with maybe what I was doing before I went to sleep. But then once the volcano stuff went off from that point on, and like, why did I walk in on somebody doing something gross? Like, I mean, clearly I was repulsed by them. But why? I don't... God bless you all. I don't know, y'all. Okay. Pray for discernment for me. God bless.